McLaren has found itself in an unexpected yet fascinating situation. It's under suspicion for using a unique and somewhat clever method to keep its tires cool. Throughout the season, the team has been exceptional at managing tire temperatures. However, now, the spotlight is shifting toward the MCL39, and specifically, its brake system. There's a buzz in the air. Will the FIA discover something unusual? And if the concerns about PCM, phase-changing materials usage are valid, could this innovation lead to changes in the rules? It's no secret that McLaren has been incredibly effective at keeping its tires in check, something that many other teams have struggled with despite the extensive work their engineers have done behind the scenes. The drama intensified after Horner shared thermal camera images revealing something intriguing. McLaren's tires were notably cooler than everyone else's, with visible cold spots. Initially, there was talk that McLaren might be using water in their tires to cool them down, but Pirelli quickly shot down that idea. The company made it clear that pumping water into tires wasn't an option, effectively putting an end to that theory. But the cold spots remained, and McLaren's performance was undeniable. At one point, Zak Brown even poked fun at the accusations by putting tire water stickers on his bottle during the Miami Grand Prix, showing that he wasn't fazed by the rumors. His actions spoke volumes. He was confident that whatever his team was doing, it was within the rules. A new theory has since emerged: the use of PCM, or phase-changing materials, to help regulate tire temperatures. This isn't a completely new concept in motorsport. In fact, a former McLaren engineer, Martin Buchan, explored this very idea in his doctoral research 8 years ago while working with the team in Woking. So, how do these materials work? It's actually quite simple. PCMs are substances that can absorb large amounts of heat and then release it as they change from one state to another, like from liquid to solid. During this process, they maintain a stable temperature. Their ability to passively regulate temperature makes them highly effective, and it's clear why they could be beneficial in Formula One. The key here is how the PCMs interact with the heat generated by the brakes. When a driver applies the brakes hard, temperatures can soar to over 1,000 degrees Celsius. This intense heat doesn't just dissipate, it moves through the wheel assembly, eventually reaching the tire. This is one of the major factors that contributes to tire degradation, as excessive heat can cause the tires to overheat and wear down faster. By using PCMs, McLaren could be ensuring that the heat from the brakes doesn't affect the tire performance. The PCM absorbs the heat before it can transfer to the tire, preventing the tires from getting too hot and helping them maintain better performance. This is a clever way to manage tire temperatures, particularly when dealing with different tires compounds. McLaren might have found a brilliant method for keeping their tires as cool as possible, regardless of the tire compound they use. But the big question remains: is this approach legal? The answer now falls under the jurisdiction of the FIA, as it doesn't involve any moving or electric parts of the car. However, just because it doesn't break any immediate rules doesn't mean it's entirely clear-cut. We've seen similar situations before. Take the MCL38, for instance. The rear wing of McLaren's car passed all the tests until the Baku 2024 Grand Prix, where the wing's flexibility came under scrutiny. At that point, the FIA had to step in, leading to changes in the regulations. This could very well happen again with the brake system if they deem it necessary. Right now, the MCL39 is under intense scrutiny. Its performance has been remarkable, and McLaren has managed to avoid the usual setbacks that other teams face in their development. McLaren's dominance has left many wondering if there's something more going on beneath the surface. Some are already looking towards the Barcelona regulations, hoping that they can level the playing field. But the big question remains: is McLaren's innovative approach to tire cooling within the rules? While it may seem like a loophole, the fact is that right now, no rule explicitly forbids the use of PCMs. The other teams may not be happy about it, But they can't deny that McLaren's solution is a stroke of genius if it proves legal. McLaren continues to push boundaries. The situation raises another interesting question. Does this innovation limit the sport's potential for progress? The use of PCMs in tire cooling is undeniably clever, but just because no one else has thought of it doesn't automatically make it illegal. This situation is different from past controversies, like the rear wing flexibility issues, because it doesn't involve any moving parts or create an immediate danger. The person behind this breakthrough is Rob Marshall, McLaren's chief designer, who previously held a high-profile role at Red Bull. Marshall's expertise and fresh ideas seem to be transforming McLaren's fortunes. His switch from Red Bull to McLaren last year may have allowed him to implement strategies he couldn't pursue before due to the hierarchy within his previous team. The result? McLaren is now reaping the benefits of Marshall's vision. Despite the buzz surrounding McLaren's innovation, the public opinion remains divided. Some view this as a genius move that pushes the limits of what's possible within the rules, while others feel it's a gray area that the FIA needs to address. Regardless, if the governing body finds a way to penalize McLaren for using PCMs, they could quickly change the regulations. McLaren is clearly ahead of the curve, and its rivals are feeling the heat. However, Red Bull, once the dominant team, has already shown that they know how to navigate these kinds of competitive challenges. They have a history of turning any situation to their advantage. McLaren's success has only intensified the competitive nature of the sport, and the FIA now faces a tough decision on how to handle this new development. The rivalry between McLaren and Red Bull is heating up, and tensions are clearly rising in the paddock. Andrea Stella, McLaren's team principal, made an interesting statement regarding Red Bull's strategy. He pointed out that while Red Bull is great at designing fast cars, they're also masters of managing the narrative to their advantage. In fact, Stella implied that Red Bull often creates a storyline where they appear to be the underdogs, despite their continued dominance. This subtle dig at Red Bull highlights the intense nature of competition in Formula One, where every advantage, whether technical or psychological, is crucial. McLaren, on the other hand, remains focused on their own path, confident in the performance of their car and the legitimacy of their innovations. As the season progresses, it's clear that McLaren isn't just relying on one aspect of their car's design. They're using a combination of technical expertise and strategic thinking to maintain their edge. However, it's important to understand that McLaren's dominance might not last forever. Formula One is always evolving, and the other teams will continue to adapt and find new ways to challenge McLaren's advantage. The upcoming Barcelona regulations could change the dynamics, and the FIA's response to the PCM debate could reshape the competitive landscape even further. Still, McLaren's current form cannot be ignored. Their tire management, particularly in conditions like those in Miami, has been exceptional. As other teams begin to analyze McLaren's success, we can expect more scrutiny and potential changes to the rules. The question remains, will the FIA intervene, or will McLaren be allowed to keep pushing the envelope? As the season continues to unfold, McLaren's ability to manage tire temperatures remains a key part of their competitive edge. The real question now is whether this innovation with PCMs will be allowed to stand, or if the FIA will decide to intervene, as they did with the flexible rear wings in previous seasons. If the governing body takes action, it could have significant implications for McLaren's strategy and even affect other teams looking for similar solutions. However, what's undeniable is that McLaren has demonstrated a level of creativity and technical prowess that has set them apart this season. With their tire management strategies, they've proven that innovation doesn't always come from flashy new parts or designs, but from clever, out-of-the-box thinking that can give a team an advantage. In Formula One, every innovation is scrutinized, and while McLaren's approach might currently be within the rules, it's highly likely that rivals and the FIA will continue to keep a close watch. It's a reminder of how quickly the competitive landscape can change in this sport, and how teams that seem to have the upper hand today might find themselves facing new challenges tomorrow. So, what do you think about McLaren's use of PCMs? Is it a brilliant breakthrough or a clever loophole that needs to be addressed? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the video popping up on your screen right now to stay updated on all things Formula One.